All right. Thank you guys so much for joining in for Junior Achievement's More Than Money program, session 4, where we're going to talk about running a business. So the things you're going to need for today are going to be your session 4 flyer that looks like this and a pencil. So go ahead and pause the video and grab those materials, and then we'll get started. So while we're looking at our flyer, we have this image in the bottom right corner of our flyer, and it's from our session 1, which we talked about, but we're going to talk about it in a little bit of a different way today. So we're going to talk about how people go to banks and they ask for a business loan, and then that money goes to the business. So a business loan is money borrowed to start or run a business. And so a business loan can be used to start or to grow the business. And if we think of our Ida Ideas example, she got a business loan from her parents instead of a bank. But we're going to be talking about how banks have to make some very tough decisions when they're loaning out money to new businesses. To go to the next vocabulary word, we have decision making. So decision making is the process of choosing between different courses of action. And so businesses are constantly weighing the risks and the rewards of growing or adding a new staff member or adding something new to the menu. So you're always making decisions, but banks have to make decisions as well when they're deciding if they're going to give you business loans. And so some factors that weigh in is the bank needs to decide if they think that your business is a good idea. They need to think if this business will be successful, and part of that is showing that you have a very good business plan. People who come to the banks with a great business plan are going to be more likely to have the bank give them money. The other thing that banks will do is they'll give you a loan if your business is profitable and you want to grow your business. Sometimes you can get a loan so that you can grow your business and maybe hire more staff and bring more jobs to the community. So let's take a look at our flyer. We have our comic for today. And so our comic says, "Business is booming, I can't keep up." Ernie the Earner says, "You must be earning a nice profit." Super Saver says, "Have you been saving? Hire some help." And then we have Ida Idea, and she says, "I haven't saved enough yet." And then Showhouse says, "Who can show Ida how to grow her business?" Sir Spendelot says, "I can borrow the money. That's what I do when I want something, and I always want something." And they all say, "We know." So then we have Ernie the Earner, and he comes in and says, "A bank loan could help you grow your business, Ida." And then Plan Man says, "Just be sure to pay that money back." And so then all of the people at Ida's stand say, "Pay up, Sir Spends-a-Lot," because he doesn't necessarily pay on his loans because he spends all of his money. And so when you're thinking of qualities of a trustworthy person, you should think about if it's going to, who in this comic would be maybe one of these people that you would loan money to. And so every single banker, whoever loans money, has to think about these qualities of a trustworthy borrower. And so on your flyer, you have a section right here that we're going to fill in right now. So the qualities of a trustworthy borrower. So they are dependable and responsible. They're honest, they tell the truth. They're able to repay on their loan. They're timely with payments. When you get a loan, you have a monthly payment or a weekly payment that you have to pay. And so you're paying those on time. And then you're also experienced. So maybe you have borrowed money in the past and you've paid off that loan. And so the bank is more likely to give you another loan. So, but the big question is where do business owners get the money to pay back a loan? If I just started a business, how do I end up paying off that loan that I just received? And the way that I do that is my business makes a profit. And so profit is income earned after all of the expenses are paid. And so when we think about expenses were the amount of money that I need to spend on making my product. And so when I spend all of my expenses and I start making my profit, that means that whatever I have, all my expenses have been paid off, and now I'm just making money. The other thing that can happen is you can have a loss when you have a business. So maybe you grew too fast and your business is not doing as well as it was. And so a loss is when a business pays more in expenses than it earns in sales. So when you experience a loss, you have a really hard time paying off your loan, but you still have to pay off your loan. And that is why business loans have interest. Interest is what we talked about in session 1. And that means that you are paying money for the use of someone else's money. So let's take the idea that we had to pay back a loan from the bank. So we borrowed the bank's money, and so now we have to pay that money off. So let's say I went to the bank and I borrowed $100 from the bank. And they say, okay, I'll give you that, but you need to pay 10% interest on your loan. But then I have to pay $110 on that loan because it's $100 on my loan for the first part of my loan, but then I'm paying 10% interest, and so 10% of 100 is $10. And so then I have to pay 100 plus $10 to pay off that loan. So thank you so much for getting this content with me. We're going to go to part 2, where we're going to use what we just learned to decide if we're going to give business owners money.